and on documents it's like a flourishing rich city, but in reality, in my school, that's not what should be represented. I am here in support of the Senate Bill 220 and also the Senate Bill 223 as a pair and not individually. The reason why I'm in support of that is because Massachusetts schools need more funding, and also, especially Boston Public Schools need more funding. The reason why I personally say this is just from my past experience going to Boston Public Schools. Attending the Boston Public School, one thing that I really needed that I didn't necessarily receive was emotional support. The reason why I say this is because I attended a school that had over 1,318 kids, but only 3 to 4 guidance counselors, depending on what year it was. One year we had 3, one year we had 4, one year we had 2. The reason why this was wish-washy in a way was because we just lacked funding, and I personally don't see how a guidance counselor can have over 200, 300 kids and be able to support all of them in the way they all need that emotional and physical support. So going to a school like that, it was hard for me to find someone who generally looked after me and also cared about my future. Also, in terms of my school building, going to a school that was the quality of the school wasn't great. I was not trained, but there comes a time where you just get used to things oh, the water is dirty. You're used to it because that's the type of school you go to. Oh, you see a mouse run across the floor. You're used to it because it's the school you go to. And you've been going there for such a long time that you don't realize that's a big problem. That affects your learning. That affects your mindset and how you move forward in life. So I hope that you guys consider my statement in support of the Senate Bill 220 and also the Senate Bill 223. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. And please speak the microphone first. You have to be really close to the microphone. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairwoman Sonia Cheng Diaz, Chairwoman Paish, and members of the Education Committee. My name is S.220 and S. I'm a 17-year-old rising senior at Boston Public Schools Urban Science Academy in West Roxbury, Massachusetts. I am also a member of Youth on Board and Bsac, which is a nonprofit organization that advocates for students' rights. I stand in front of you on behalf of my fellow Boston Public School students, for students who have never had an opportunity to have an art instruction, for students who never had the attention they needed in their classrooms to succeed academically, for students who lacked externships to learn about careers before graduating from high school, for students with disabilities who lacked all the resources needed to succeed academically. We need the funding so we can give students wraparound services. We need more funding so that no child is left behind. We need more funding so that a school does not push a student out onto the next grade because they are a couple years older than their peers. More funding would allow us to have more counselors, not cops. Schools in Boston lack adequate funding that would allow a student to receive an education, making them productive human beings. More funding for schools in BPS will provide support and answers to prevent a mother from coming up to her child's school every day to get justice for her child. A mother who cannot afford to take time off because she has to figure out why her child is not going to grade 5. She is a single mother who is the breadwinner, the only source of income for our household. If we get more funding, we can prevent a family from losing this only source of money that pays for food on the table, lights, water, and rent. 3 years ago, a parent of a BPS high school student found out that her firstborn son, being 18 years of age, who has attended BPS since he was 6, was diagnosed with autism. It took 12 years for that child's school to realize that he had autism. This is a cycle of tragedy that has to stop. I'm a product of a mother who was failed by the public education system and was forced to drop out. If my mother's high school had more resources and support, my mother would have never considered dropping out. I'm a product of BPS. I'm a product of teachers and administrators who pushed beyond the 7-hour school day to make sure that I would not fail, using their own family's money that could have been used to feed themselves to allow me to succeed. And I'm a future educator, and I do stand with my peers. Please vote in favor of Bill S.220 and Bill S.223 as a pair. Thank you.
Thank you. Joseph?
Good morning, Chairwoman Cheng Diaz, Chairwoman Paish, members of the Education Committee. Thank you for holding this hearing and allowing me to testify. My name is Joseph Okafor, and I just graduated from Urban Science Academy in West Roxbury, Boston Public School, and will be attending Boston College this fall. I'm a member of the Boston Student Advisory Council, Bsac, and Youth on Board, and I've been fighting for positive change for all BPS students this past year. I'm joined today by my fellow Bsac and Youth on Board members who are here today with me to testify in support of Senate Bill 220 and Senate Bill 223 as a pair. This past school year was one filled with disappointments and hardship because of the lack of funding that my school faced. I was student body president of my school, and I had several hopes, dreams, and new ideas and projects and initiatives that I would bring to my school. In almost every attempt to do something good and new, I was stymied by the fact that we, as student government, had virtually no funds to back us through the school. Everything we did was almost always paid for by fundraising with students, parents, and faculty and staff. This is disappointing and hard to hear for the students who wonder why they weren't able to take a class trip to Kennedy Lake Park like their cross-city counterparts, and that shouldn't be the case. These same students wonder why they don't have more AP classes, or why we have holes in the ceilings of the classrooms and hallways, or why they lose teachers who have made strong connections and bonds with every single year. Simply put, it is not fair, and we can do better. And that's why I'm supporting these bills, because I'm a proud Boston Public School alumnus, and these bills will help fix the foundation budget and address the particular realities of Boston, so that we too get to benefit from the formula. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions?